It is me. I am live. It is Saturday, and you know exactly what that means. Wrestling Week in Review. This is number 82. Number 82 that I've done. I am so excited to be here today to talk with you guys about the various wrestling that happened this week. Got a lot of it to go through, so without further ado, I would like to start the show. We got Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw opened up with none other than John Cena, his first actual appearance since turning heel at Elimination Chamber. This is the first time we've seen him on WWE television since that night. And boy, was that a great moment. Never would have thought it would have happened, but it happened, and I'm more than willing to accept it because I know what we're going to get is going to be something spectacular. Oh, one person's here and one person has already liked. Thank you very much. Obviously, John Cena had a lot to say to the fans mostly. He talked about how he has been in an abusive relationship with the fans over the past 25 years, which is weird because he's only been in WWE for 23. Well, not even 23 years, just under, I think it was like early summer of 2002 was when he debuted on W television against Kurt Angle. Didn't beat Kurt Angle, but hey. It is what it is. We all know. He also obviously John Cena had at least heard of the sort of rumblings from fans who were like, what kind of John Cena are we gonna get with this heel turn? Are we gonna get a new look? Are we gonna get a new theme song? He was like mocking the fans for like, what do we get? What do we get? He said that like 4 or 5 times before he basically screamed at the fans and said, "Oh, yeah, you thought you were getting something new? You get nothing. You get what you have earned, and what you have earned is nothing." At least that's what he said. His words, and I thought this promo was great. Great. Obviously, as always, John Cena is great at when he needs to. He is one of the greatest talkers in WWE history. Right now, it's Kevin Owens is very good at being at talking on the mic. Drew McIntyre, golden. Roman Reigns, golden. CM Punk, Seth Rollins, LA Knight, 6 people. Cody Rhodes, when he needs to be aggressive and vicious, so he can be that. So 7 wrestlers right now who I can consider to be the best talkers right now. Of all time, obviously, John Cena has to be in that category. Because you just can't. I mean, Shawn Michaels obviously is also a great talker. So, hey. But this is about Shawn Michaels, this is about John Cena. Obviously, Cody Rhodes was also scheduled to be there, and he interrupted John Cena. He obviously had a lot to say to John Cena as well. He basically told John Cena that whatever this is, that's not the John Cena I want to face. Find John Cena. If you could find John Cena for me, I'd really appreciate it. Because I want to face John Cena at WrestleMania. Not this whiny B word. I'm not going to say it, obviously. I'm not going to get canceled on YouTube for saying a bad word, but hey, it is what it is. That was great. It was great. This segment was great, as I knew it was going to be. The only problem with this segment being as great as it was apparently this segment ran a little bit longer than it was initially supposed to, and so the first match we got post opening segment was Jey Uso versus Austin Theory. Now, obviously, we all know what happened. Barely lasted a minute. Jey Uso basically squashes Theory. Now, from what I've been able to hear, from what I've heard since Monday, it's that Jey Uso versus Austin Theory was supposed to be quite longer than the initial time they got, which was no more than a minute, maybe even less than that. I can't remember. It was less than a minute, still just under a minute. But it was supposed to be about an 8-minute match, which, to be honest, would sound. Hey, Aaron, which would sound about fair for an Austin Theory Jey Uso match. But apparently the John Cena segment ran longer than it was supposed to, and so we rounded up getting a squash match between Jey Uso and Austin Theory, which, if you think about it, then that makes more sense, because you would not expect WWE to just book it that way, a squash match. And so now that I've heard that it was not supposed to be a squash match and that it was actually supposed to be a full-length match, about 8 minutes, that makes more sense to me. And that the Cena promo just went longer than expected, I understand. Now, the video that WWE uploaded of the Austin Theory squash match, currently has, I'm not sure, but the last time I heard, it had just over 62,000 dislikes. I know a lot of people are pissed that Austin Theory was squashed like that, but if you want to blame somebody, don't blame Jey Uso for squashing him, because that wasn't the original plans for the match. The match wasn't supposed to be a squash. It was supposed to be 8 minutes. But John Cena's promo segment ran a little longer than expected. So if you want to blame somebody, I'd blame John Cena for going overtime. Well, the promo segment with John Cena was great. It was everything I knew it was going to be, but it ran longer than it was supposed to, and so that led to them cutting this match down to pretty much a minute. And apparently they had at least one or two other matches that were potentially scrapped because of that segment running longer. Thanks, Austin, for the like. I see we got 2 likes. Can we get it to 5? Just 5 likes is all I'm expecting for today. But yeah, it is what it is. After the Jey Uso match, we got Gunther coming in to basically ruin Jey Uso's night again. This is like the last 3 or 4 or 5 weeks. We've been getting nothing but just Jey Uso, Gunther, just either man just beating the other one up. Mostly it's been Gunther beating up on Jey nonstop. But if you think about it, that's what Gunther promised. I mean, if you think about it, the story they're telling here with Gunther and Jey Uso, it's the exact same, copy and paste, as the story they did last year with Gunther and Sami Zayn. It's just that they're using Jey Uso in This is the Jey Usos playing Sami Zayn's part of the babyface that Gunther just does not see on his level, just doesn't see Jey Uso as being on his level, and he's trying to prove it week in and week out just by beating him up and just choking him out and just making him want to not want to show up at WrestleMania, but that's only going to make him want to fight back even more. Because Jey Uso ain't going to stay down. You're not going to get Jey Uso to stay down. No matter how many times you put him in, you powerbomb his ass onto the mat, he's just going to keep coming back up. He's just going to keep getting back up. It is what it is. But, I mean, is it the best story that they could produce for this match? Maybe not, but since it is an exact copy and paste, since it does seem to me like an exact copy and paste of what they did last year with Gunther and Sami, we all know how that match ended, and we all know that match was great, so it's going to be just fine. It's going to be just fine. And yes, this WrestleMania build may seem dull and lifeless and flat compared to last year's, but not every WrestleMania season can be the very best WrestleMania build that you can make it. It can't always be great. The WrestleMania build can't always be perfect. The matches will make up for the lack of build, I'm sure, or the dullness of the build we've already gotten. After this, we got Dominic Mysterio backstage with the Judgment Day. He's with Finn and the rest of the Judgment Day members. He's still trying to get Finn Balor on board with bringing in a new member, since JD is still out with an injury following that tag team match he had with Dominic Mysterio versus the War Raiders, where he basically hit the back of his head on the announce table. Thanks, Austin. I appreciate it. Let's see if we can get some more people on this live stream. It seems like I'm just really either just one or two people are here, and I'm like, it's okay. But hey, I would love some more people to come in here. But Finn Balor is still very much dead set against this. Dominic this time decides to... Oh, wait, yeah, I forgot. This didn't happen next. Next up, we got Ludwig Kaiser versus Penta El Zero Miedo in a no-holds-barred match. Obviously, before the match, Ludwig cut a promo. It was basic. Said he was going to win this match easily. Well, I don't know how easily you thought this match was going to be, but you didn't win. We got the match. It's about 15 minutes. And it's very good. This was a very good, no hold barred match. It was a really good match. Penta wins. Didn't expect him to lose. And hey, it's nice that he has not been pinned since... Technically, he did lose that triple threat match recently against Pete Dunne and Ludwig, but he wasn't pinned, so I guess you can say he still has yet to be pinned in WWE. Technically did lose a match, but it wasn't by being pinned. It was just because he was involved in the match and somebody else was involved in the match and they got pinned instead of him. But it is what it is. Now, after this match, obviously Penta made it clear that he's going for the Intercontinental Championship. So I'm like, okay, I see this going. I could see this match between Braun Breaker, maybe Penta winning the title off of Braun at WrestleMania. I don't know, but hey, it's something to think about. Now, after this, we got the Dominic Mysterio segment backstage with Finn Balor. He makes the case that he wants Penta in the Judgment Day, but perhaps bringing in Penta. Finn Balor is not happy about this because obviously he just saw what Penta did out there, calling his shot for the Intercontinental Championship. So yeah, you want to bring in the guy who just declared that he's coming after my Intercontinental Championship. Well, as soon as I heard that, I was like, Finn, you have to win the championship in order to say something like that. You haven't even won the title yet. Your match hasn't even happened yet, and yet you're already acting like you're the Intercontinental Champion, and that this match shouldn't even happen, and you should just be handed the title. I was like, dude, you're not the champion yet. What you could have said and what you should have said was, you want to bring in the guy who said that because he's coming after the Intercontinental title, the title that I could potentially win tonight. And then he decided to call Dominic Mysterio a snake. A snake. Like, dude, what is your problem? What's your problem, Finn? You're just constant. All you are is constantly. All you are is constantly pissed off at the world for you losing, and you're gonna blame everybody else for the fact that you that you've lost, and you're gonna blame everybody else for Liv and Raquel are the women's tag team champions. That's something to celebrate, but it's not like it's anything. It's not like the Judgment Day is doing any good right now. But after this, we were backstage. LWOs, Dragon Lee and Rey Mysterio were backstage. They went to talk to American Made for what they believed to be Chad Gable's interference in their match last week against the New Day. And if that is not Chad Gable in that lucha mask, then I am going to literally, I don't know what I'm going to do. But that masked luchador has to be Chad Gable, because tonight I'm going to tell you what happened tonight. What happened later when I get to it. They said that they haven't spoken with Chad for a while, at least not since he went on that sabbatical. They're getting ready. Well, Ivy's getting ready for a match against Dakota Kai. We go out there. They come out, make their entrance. I don't know what the American Made guys were wearing. Obviously, Julius Creed was wearing some like American flag printed overalls. I mean, Brutus looked like he had jumped straight out of the 1980s, or at least out of a Bruce Springsteen video. Because he was wearing denim jacket and a headband and a bandana on his head that very much screamed like Bruce Springsteen. And they even joked about it on commentary, like, did Brutus Creed just do your wardrobe? Yeah, and then Michael Cole said, yeah, that's the Bruce Springsteen collection. But yeah, this match between Ivy and Dakota lasted about just under 3 minutes. It was what it was. A bit of a squash. Dakota I think Dakota actually did win this match, which I'm don't know why they're having her win this match because I feel like Ivy Nile is a slightly better star, is a better star than Dakota right now. No offense to Dakota because I like her, but I just feel like she's a bigger star right now, Ivy Nile, and she should definitely be be getting more wins. I mean, the American Made should be getting more wins as of late. I don't know why they just can't seem to win anymore. Just move them over to SmackDown. Move American Made to SmackDown. Move a team like maybe move Motor City Machine Guns over to Raw, but just give American Made some wins, please. It shouldn't be that hard. You turned Chad Gable heel, had him aligned with Ivy Nile and Chad and the Creed brothers to do what? To just lose every single match they're ever in? When they feuded with the Wyatt Six, the Wyatt Six made American Made look like jokes because they were losing every single time. And even after the feud was over, they still couldn't really seem to ever get a win. And even when they do win, it doesn't matter because they've already been made to look like complete idiots. So I really just don't know why they can't seem to get the American Made's booking right. But it is what it is. After this, we go backstage. Penta's backstage. And Braun Breaker, he runs into him, sort of not exactly happy that Penta decided to call out the Intercontinental Championship, but he said he'd worry about Penta later because he's got a match, obviously, in the main event. After this, we got American Made versus LWO. So this is Julius and Brutus Creed versus the LWO's Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee. Match lasted about 9 minutes, just around 9 minutes. Not bad match. Just over 9 minutes. Not bad match at all. Two great teams. And again, LWO win. And again, American Made lose. American Made lose. Why? Why? I don't know why. Ask Triple H. I guess you could ask Triple H that question. But it is what it is. After the match, though, we got this masked luchador come into the ring. He starts attacking on the LWO. He does a lot of Chad Gable-esque moves, which definitely got me. Like, he did some German suplexes. He even did the flying headbutt. There is, from the top rope, there is nobody in WWE right now that does the flying headbutt from the top rope besides Chad Gable. He is the only person who does that. So tell me that's not Chad Gable, okay? He literally did a signature move of Chad Gable. Last week, we had him doing German suplexes, and this masked luchador decided to put up the thank you pose that only Chad Gable does. So I don't know why people would even think that this is not Chad Gable. After this match, apparently, after Raw went off the air, apparently WWE uploaded a digital exclusive, I'm guessing, of the post-match backstage interaction with Chad Gable and the rest of American Made. And guess what? Chad Gable, in this little short video, is wearing the exact same outfit that the luchador was wearing when he was out there attacking the LWO. Exact outfit. just without the mask. Tell me it's not Chad Gable. Please. I just love how some people are like, no, that luchador is not Chad Gable. Well, then why is he doing all of Chad Gable's moves? And why is he doing Chad Gable's famous pose that he likes to use nowadays? The thank you pose. He even said it. Thank you. I think at one point, even before he did the flying headbutt this week, he did the shush. Wasn't nearly as long and exaggerated as he usually does it, but it was a shush. So please tell me it's not. Please tell me it's not Chad Gable, because I would love to point out all of this evidence that supports my theory that it actually is. After this, we got contract signing between Bianca Belair and Io Sky. Now, going into this, I kind of figured this would involve some sort of shenanigans and there would be some sort of brawl. Eventually, that is what happened. Rhea came out, decided to cause chaos, decided to be like, no, this isn't going to happen. This isn't happening without me. I'm the former champion. So she decided to just, after a few minutes of fighting, she decided that she was going to put her name on the contract, not Bianca Belair, because Io Sky had already put pen to paper. So great. We're going with the old trick of since nobody else technically signed, since it's only half signed, anyone can sign the contract and it's legal, and it's a legal binding contract for a match. Like, yeah. Apparently even Shayna Baszler had a little fun. And for those of you who don't know, I think late last year, I did decide to open a Twitter X account. Nothing serious. It's just for wrestling and for some of the other stuff that I like to do. Apparently, even Shayna Baszler on X was questioning this move by WWE. So anybody can just sign their name to a contract? Implying that she could have easily just signed her name to the contract and it would have been as if it was official. I'm gonna be honest, where is Shayna Baszler? Where is Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark? Where are they? We haven't seen them since Sonya Deville got released. And I don't know where they are. Whether Sonya Deville was the only person keeping them on TV, and now they're just in creative limbo. Who knows? But after this, we go backstage. Rhea is backstage. Adam Pearce is not happy, as you know he wouldn't be in that type of situation. He tried to reason with Rhea, but Rhea was just not going to budge at all. So that's how that ended. After this, we got a Seth Rollins promo. Seth Rollins, he talked about Elimination Chamber, talked about the steel cage match from last week, talked about Roman Reigns, and he figured, you know what, CM Punk suddenly decides that he's just going to go over to Roman's show and hop on over to Roman's show on SmackDown and just have a chit chat with him. Well, why should I just let them have all the fun? I'm going to SmackDown, and then I'm going to have some things to say to Roman and Punk too. So hey, it was good promo actually, but it was just like, okay, so we're just gonna ignore the brand split as usual. Then we get the main event. Finn Balor versus Braun Breaker For the IC title for the Intercontinental Championship, this match went about 15 minutes. Wasn't bad at all. It was a very good match for these two guys, but the finish was a little bit weird because obviously we had the usual Judgment Day interference, or at least the attempted interference, which backfired dramatically, which led to Braun Breaker winning the match. Good for him. This match was great, but the ending was a little flat in my mind. Doesn't take away from the fact that the match was good, it's just the ending was flat. After this, obviously, the Judgment Day, they tried to, I guess, make it up to Finn by just attacking Braun Breaker post-match. Yeah, I really think that that's going to smooth things over. Yeah, you basically screwed Finn Balor out of a title shot, out of the Intercontinental title, basically. But yeah, going in post-match to just beat down on Braun Breaker is definitely going to make things so much better. That's gonna, yeah, you screwed me out of a title shot. But yeah, all was forgiven because you decided that it was in your best interest to just beat up on Braun Breaker, thinking that was gonna actually thinking that was gonna be enough for me to forgive you. I don't think Finn Balor is gonna take kindly to this. And if by next week we don't see Finn Balor just going off on Dominic, then what are we doing here? This is clearly either leading to Dominic being removed from the group or Finn Balor being removed from the group, which, to be honest, if that happens, then they might as well just disband the group altogether, because that'll be it. Besides Dominic Mysterio, Finn Balor is the only OG member left. It is what it is. It is what it is. That was Monday Night Raw. The ending of the match. The ending was Braun Breaker and Penta just having a stare down moment. Not exactly a fire ending to the show, but it is what it is. Raw was great this week. Was good this week. Maybe not great. Opening segment was great, even though it ran longer than it was supposed to. Ludwig Kaiser versus Penta was great. The Bianca Rhea Io segment was good, even though it didn't make sense for Rhea to just sign her name to the contract. Whatever. And the main event match was great, was really good, but the ending was just flat. And so did the ending of the show in general. But I will give it a 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10. NXT, we go to NXT this week. Last week may have been one of the best episodes of NXT that I've seen since I started watching NXT. One of the best episodes I've ever seen, and I don't know if there's anybody that can tell me different. Last week was Roadblock. This week opened up with a recap of Roadblock and what we got. Obviously, we got the TNA tag titles on the line in the opener between Fraxium and the Hardys. We got Moose versus Oba, Jordynne Grace versus Roxanne Perez, Julia versus Steffi Vaquer for both titles. We also got the street fight between Javon Evans and Ethan Page. So it was just a great show last week. Last week's NXT, I gave it, I think, at least an 8 out of 10. I would have given it a 10 out of 10, but you can't make every show perfect. It wasn't perfect, but it was definitely one of the best episodes of NXT that I've seen since I started watching the show, which was about 2021 was when I officially started to watch NXT and started to actually watch the shows / pay-per-views. Because NXT In Your House 2021 was the first NXT pay-per-view I've seen. was the first NXT pay-per-view I ever saw. And that was a great pay-per-view, and that was a really good pay-per-view. The Fatal 5-Way main event between Cross, Gargano, O'Reilly, Dunn, and Adam Cole was brilliant. It was just beautiful. The opening saw Stephanie Vecchia. She was out there celebrating her win last week. Obviously, she apologized in advance for not having great English. So I like that she was willing to admit that. Like, excuse me, I don't have great English, so if you don't understand some of the things I'm saying, then just bear with me here. Then Jordynne Grace came out. She congratulated Stephanie Vecchia, but she made it clear at some point she might be coming for either one of those titles that Stephanie's holding. Oh my God, 4 likes. Don't know who decided to hit a third and fourth like, but thank you. I appreciate that. But yeah, Jordynne Grace that said that at one point she might come after Stephanie's titles. This led to, then out of really nowhere, Jada Parker comes out and just blasts Jordynne Grace. Jada's like, nuh-uh. Jordynne ain't next. I'm next. You wanna next. I'm coming for the NXT women's title. And so the match was made, and it will be, and next week we will see, and this upcoming Tuesday, we will see Stephanie Vecchia versus Jada Parker for the NXT women's title. After this, we got our first match of the night, which is Sol Ruca versus Chelsea Green. I'm not gonna say it exactly like others have said it, but I did my best impression. But this was for the women's United States title. No more than 2 weeks ago, on an episode of NXT, we had a women's tag team match. Chelsea Green and Piper Niven versus Sol Ruca and Zarya. Sol Ruca and Zarya were able to win the match, and she pinned Chelsea Green in the match. So this led to tonight's match, which was for the women's United States title. Hey, Danny. So Sol Ruca versus Chelsea Green. This match lasted just about 10 minutes. Obviously, I'm able to watch NXT, so I was able to watch this match, and it was actually pretty darn good. Eventually, though, Chelsea Green was working on Sol Ruca's legs for quite a while during the match, which obviously a lot of her maneuvers, obviously a lot of Sol's moves involve her using her legs, some of her acrobatic moves, and eventually by the end of the match she just did not have much left in her legs, and this allowed Chelsea Green to capitalize with a pretty her to get the 1, 2, 3. Good match, but hey, Sol Ruca definitely is. Yeah, I won't forget. I never forget. For those of you who are here, I figure I will just let you guys know now. After this live stream is over, I am going to be doing I will be doing my second movie review video for this month. I I think it was either in February or January, I decided that either last month or the month before last, I made a decision that I was going to stick when I do my movie review videos. I'm going to be restricting myself to movies that I haven't seen, and I'm going to do at least 2 a month. I've already done the first one, which was Tron Legacy. Apparently, it's only the second movie review video I have done, which has gotten over 100 views. Great. But I'm going to do another one immediately after this live stream is over, and I will be uploading it tomorrow as a premiere. So in case you guys want to, and it will probably be 5 p.m. is when it will premiere. 5 p.m. So make sure if you're watching and you're hearing this, make sure you're there because you won't want to miss it. Now back to the show. After this, we got Trick Williams backstage. He is warming up for his NXT Underground match against Eddie Thorpe. This Javon Evans then comes in and he strikes up a conversation with Trick Williams, talks about his win last week, and it's a red hat. It's a red hat. It's a red hat. It's just a red hat. I've worn this hat at least 2 or 3 times before on live stream while I'm live streaming, and I don't think I've heard you say anything about it yet. So first, okay, whatever. I'm going with the show. Trick Williams tells Javon Evans, "We're not friends. We may never be friends." And I got a match to get ready for. So after this, we go to the commercial break. We come back. Stacks and the rest of the family, the Angelo family, is out backstage. Stacks thinks that it should be better. It would be better for Tony if he stays backstage while they handle their business with Shawn Spears' new group called The Culling. The Culling. I do not understand this name, and it does not make any sense to me. I'm like, okay, yeah, this name does not make sense. Weird name for a group, but it is what it is. After this segment, we are still backstage, and Ricky Starks is being interviewed, and then the Culling interrupts. Shawn Spears was a former AEW superstar. He knows Ricky Starks. Ricky's like, "Oh, what are you gonna say? Are you gonna say the same shit that everybody else has been saying since I basically got here, that I don't belong here, this and that?" Izzy Dane then decides to talk and says that she's been somewhat impressed with Ricky Starks, or Ricky Saints as he's being called, but that in her eyes he doesn't seem to measure up. Then Ricky Starks decided to do somewhat of a playful shot at that comment by saying, "Oh, sweetheart, I always measure up in the right places." Okay. A little bit of a sexual innuendo, maybe. Just saying. That just seemed, I was like, okay, Ricky. Then we go and we get this match, the Culling versus the D'Angelo family. Stacks, Luca Crucifino, and Adriana Rizzo, who apparently, and I didn't even know this, I follow Adriana Rizzo on X, and apparently she decided to give me a follow. So I'm like, wow, I actually have a bona fide NXT superstar who follows me on X. But apparently she does that to everybody that follows her. So, but hey, like, wow. This match lasted about 9 minutes, 30 seconds. At the end, near the end of the match, though, is where everything started to go downhill for the family because Tony D'Angelo was backstage watching this match for the majority of the time. Not yet, but I will get to that when it gets time for me to. When I review AEW, when I get to Dynamite, I will definitely get to that. But hey, this at near the end of this match, Tony has been watching this match backstage. Then all of a sudden, we get the four guys in all black, masked, these superstars who have been causing nothing but chaos since they debuted at Vengeance Day. Now we know what their name is. This group's name is Dark State. Dark State. Interesting name. It's better than the culling, I will tell you that much, but I don't know how good it is, but it is what it is. They attacked Tony D, and this was being shown on the Titantron, so the rest of the family was able to see this. This eventually just led to Shawn Spears' group getting the win via the distraction. I was like, dude, you got a match going. You can't be worried about what Tony D's doing backstage or what's happening backstage. But they let this distraction cost them the win. And hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. Thank you for the 5 likes, by the way. Can we now get it potentially up to 10 likes? I know, Danny, you have a bunch of channels. But I don't expect it to happen. But hey, it can happen. But hey, maybe I'll be proven wrong. After this, we go backstage. Stephanie Becker is with the general manager Ava. She's there make the match between her and Jada official. In comes Fallon Henley of Fatal Influence, who has been nonstop hounding Ava for weeks about a rematch for the NXT Women's North American title. That apparently she's pissed off that she hasn't gotten her rematch yet. Stephanie decided to be like, "Oh, you want a rematch? Oh, okay, then I'll just give you a rematch. And better yet, I'll just face you next week." And so apparently, this upcoming Tuesday on NXT, we are going to get Stephanie Becker wrestling not once, but twice, defending both titles in the same night. She's going to defend her women's title against Jada Parker, and then in the main event, she's going to be facing Fallon in a rematch for the NXT Women's North American Championship. So I do not know what's going to happen there. Apparently, later, we also next week are going to be getting another title match, that being Javon Evans versus Lexis King for the Heritage Cup. That should be a good match. After this backstage segment, we get a tag team match: Hank Walker and Tank Ledger versus Josh Briggs, and I could not remember this guy's first name to save my mind. I had totally forgotten what his first name was, but this guy Yoshiki Inamura. So now I at least know what his first name is. But these two teams faced off. about 8 minutes. It was a simple tag team match. Wasn't anything too pretty, too fancy. Just two really good teams apparently just battling it out. Josh Briggs and Inamura were able to win the match, and it is what it is. Good tag team match. Wasn't anything special, but hey, it is what it is. Let's move on. After this match, also we got Jada Parker. She was backstage and she was cutting a promo after it was announced that she would be facing Stephanie for the title. She decided to cut a little promo backstage, and it was actually pretty darn good. And then after this, we got Jacy Jayne versus Carmen Petrovich. Went about 5 minutes, simple match, didn't mean much, but it's just that Carmen's been getting some huge momentum as of late, and so she was like trying to continue her momentum build, and it didn't work out this time because Jacy Jayne beat her in the ring, obviously with the interference. Obviously, actually, if I'm not mistaken, this match, Fatal Influence didn't even interfere in the match. It was Ashante who was trying to get some sort of revenge on Fatal Influence for sort of Fatal Influence. I can't even remember what they said it was for, but he offered Carmen the chance to use a steel chair against Jacy, but Carmen was like, I actually want to win this match on my own without help. This didn't exactly go over well. She lost the match and definitely did not seem a bit happy with Ashante following the match, post-match. But it is what it is. We get these 4 members, Dark Straight. They were coming out of the building. They were being interviewed, I'm guessing by Byron Saxton or whoever was doing the interview, or whoever was outside interviewing them. Then they decided, you know what? I don't think they got the message. I still don't know if they got the message. So they decided, we're just going to go back inside and just cause some more havoc, just because we want to. We get Ricky Starks versus Ridge Holland. I am really starting to like Ricky Saints or Ricky Starks. And I think I'm just going to call him Ricky Starks because Saints just doesn't sound like a good last name to me. I don't know why, but let's just forget about it. This match went about 10 minutes. Not bad. Not a bad match, to be honest. But it is what it is. Ricky Starks won the match via using his finisher, the Rochambeau, but he didn't get it all. If not, he got a little of it because obviously Ridge Holland is much stronger and more powerful than Ricky, and he was working on the back of Ricky Starks for basically the entire match. So obviously, if you take out the back, you're most likely taking out most of the power of any wrestler. But good for Ricky. He got the win. Then we get the main event, Trick Williams versus Eddie Thorpe in a NXT Underground match. I was excited for this match because I've been really liking the NXT Underground matches that we've gotten so far, whether it be from the men or the women. This was actually the 3rd men's NXT Underground match that we've gotten, and it's been the first since like late 2023. The last match obviously involving Eddie Thorpe. So Eddie Thorpe is undefeated in his last 2 Underground matches. The first one was, I think, against that Olympic gold medalist who flopped badly, and I can't even remember his name. That's how bad he was. And apparently he even decided to try his hand at pro football. He signed with the Buffalo Bills at one point before getting released from the Bills. Like, okay, you can't make it in WWE or in the NFL. Maybe the universe is trying to tell you something. Just stick to amateur wrestling, dude. Second one was against Dijak. He's no longer there. This match lasted just about 5 minutes. I did not expect this match to be a short one, but it was a short match, about 5 minutes. After post-match, though, the four masked members, Dark State, they were there, but the guys that were surrounding the ring for this NXT Underground match, apparently these were the WWE LFG talents, the Legends and Future Greats, the stars of Legends and Future Greats. They started just attacking each other. I mean, Trick called out Oba because he wants to get back at the NXT title that he actually was never pinned for in that match. That he lost. So they came out. They started brawling. The LFG athletes started brawling, and then Javon Evans came in and dropped Oba with like a cutter, and the episode basically ends with the LFG guys just fighting it out with Javon Evans staring a hole through Trick Williams. I did a short little video of myself reacting to that moment live, and it's now gotten just about 1,000 views. 969 views to be exact. Which is crazy for a WWE NXT video, because I'm doing a lot of those. I'm uploading at least 1 or 2 NXT videos each night. But hey, this NXT was a really good episode. I'll give it 7 out of 10. Then we go to what Danny was talking about, AEW Dynamite. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. This episode was not necessarily good. And not because the matches weren't good, because some of them actually were. After I've watched some of them, some of these matches were actually pretty darn good. It's just that the order was sort of mixed up in my mind. Because apparently we got a normal women's match. We just got a random women's match main eventing the show over a world championship street fight between Jon Moxley and Adam Copeland. The opening was a fatal 4-way match to determine who is going to face Kenny Omega at AEW Dynasty, or should I say, the winner of this match is going to lose to Kenny Omega at AEW Dynasty. Now, this match was very good, went about 13 minutes, very good match, but the ending was also like the Finn Balor Braun Breaker match. This match was a good match, was a really good match, but just a weird ending that apparently saw Mike Bailey, Speedball Mike Bailey, who has now made his debut in AEW, and he apparently had the pin on Mark Davis, but apparently Ricochet also had leverage on Mark Davis as well, while also using the ropes, putting his feet on the ropes to gain an advantage. So apparently they both win. So apparently they both won the match. And so now it's going to be a triple threat match against Mike Bailey, Ricochet, and Kenny Omega, and Icon. And with Dynasty still a few weeks away, I can tell you right now who is going to take the pinfall, and that is Ricochet. Speedball Mike Bailey, he's new. He can't be pinned. They are not going to let their new toy get pinned in a match. That's the only reason why they made this a triple threat match. because while Mike Bailey versus Kenny Omega on paper would seem like a great match, I'm guessing they are of the belief that they just cannot have Mike Bailey pinned anytime soon, so they're putting Ricochet in this match to gain some heat and to have Ricochet take the pin, which he can obviously do, and he can just brush it off, and he can go over to X following the match and cry his fucking ears out and just fucking eyes out and complain and complain and complain about how the match was unfair and how Mike Bailey should have never been in that match and how he should have won the match and this and that. That's what he does now. That's all Ricochet does now is whine, moan, bitch, complain. Whether it's on X or on AW television, it's all he does. Great. It'll be a great match, but doesn't really mean anything when all they're building up to is Kazuchika Okada versus Kenny Omega at All In Texas. That's clearly the match they're building up to. So any match going forward before that is just meaningless. After this match, we got MJF. He was out there. He had a lot to say about Hangman and about their Revolution match and how he's not happy that he didn't win, but he's obviously not done with Hangman. Eventually, and this was a bit surprising to me, MVP decided to show up. MVP decided to interrupt and decided to have a little one-on-one with MJF. He made it clear to MJF that he respects MJF, but he feels that MJF has lost his spark, has lost the heat, has lost his edge, quote unquote. No pun intended. Maybe he's right. Maybe MJF has lost his edge. And MJF decided, and MVP decided to give MJF the Hurt Syndicate business card. You know what? Maybe we can do something for you that maybe you couldn't do on your own. Who knows what this is going to lead to, but this is interesting. But hey, it is what it is. After this, we got Mercedes Moné. We got Mercedes Moné versus Billy Starks. This match has been built up within the last few weeks. Simple match between Mercedes and Billy Starks, who is 20 years old. Who is 20 years old, by the way. Billy Starks is 20 years old. She's on Ring of Honor she's paired up right now with Athena, formerly known as Ember Moon, on Ring of Honor as one of Athena's minions, as she calls her friends who, I guess, help her win her matches and stuff, and are with her 24/7. But yeah, this was a good match. Billy Starks was good, but this match will mean absolutely nothing for Billy. She will go right back down to Ring of Honor, where she's been, and she will continue to do stuff down there. It's not like this match is going to move her right up to the main show, because I don't know what this match is going to do for Billy Starks, but it was just a match. Good match, went about 10 minutes. Great. Backstage, we got MJF. He's cutting a promo, is what it is. Says that there is only one horse that you can bet on, and that's MJF, as he has the diamond ring on his finger. Great. Go back to Long Island where you belong. Nobody wants you in AEW, MJF. I'm sorry. Then we get the match. We get the street fights. Jon Moxley versus Adam Copeland. I refuse to say Cope. But we got it. Street fights. And as good as this match was, all anybody was even willing to talk about post-match is the moment in which Adam Copeland decided to bring out Spike. This piece of wood with, I'm guessing, with spikes in it. He started out just hitting him in the ribs, in the back with in the back with it. Then came the sick part. He dropped Spike on the mat and suplexed Jon Moxley onto Spike, which, oh my God. I'm still sort of cringing every time I see it. I still cringe a little. And the fact that I don't know, apparently AEW did not upload the video of this match to their YouTube channel, which probably should tell you something as to why they didn't. Because of that spot right there. I heard someone, I was watching a YouTuber do a post-Dynamite review, and he talked about that spot and how that looked like something out of The Walking Dead, which I've never even seen that show, but if they had just ripped that thing off like a Band-Aid, oh, they were ripping skin off the bone. And I'm guessing that's why he referenced Walking Dead, because that's what it would have looked like. Something from The Walking Dead. But I'm glad they didn't. They did not rip that thing off quickly. They slowly maneuvered that thing off so that way they would not take any of his skin off, which I'm glad they decided to do that. Because I would not have wanted to see skin come off. Because that would have just been too gross, even for the diehard, hardcore ECW-esque fans, who were probably used to that in the 90s. It's a different time now. There's a time and place for stuff like that, and there's a time and place to not do stuff like that. This was not the time and place to do that. I'm sorry. That's my opinion. I didn't like it. It generated a reaction, but was it the reaction that you guys wanted? Because it looks like you didn't even upload the video of the match to your YouTube channel. That should tell you something as far as that's concerned. Following this match, we got a backstage segment. Johnny TV is backstage. He is talking smack. Bandito comes into focus, and he challenges Johnny TV to a match on Ring of Honor. Great. Don't watch Ring of Honor, so not going to know what that match is going to entail, but it is what it is. I think it was for a Collision. Again, I don't watch Collision, so it is what it is. After this, we got Will Ospreay in a match against AR Fox. This match lasted just over 3 minutes. Nothing special. Good match. Good match for what it was. 3 minutes. Didn't need to happen. Great. Move on. Will Ospreay wins. Move on. Main event. Megan Bayne versus Chris Statlander. This match went about 8 minutes. Timeless Tony Storm was at ringside watching this match. Megan Bayne eventually won the match. Afterwards, after the match, Tony Storm decided to talk. She sort of hyped up Megan Bayne a little bit by saying, "You're a big you know what, big B word. And she decided that since she doesn't right as of right now, she doesn't have a match for Death Dynasty, so she decided to just make it official between her and Megan Bayne. So I'm guessing it'll be Megan Bayne versus Toni Storm for the women's championship at AEW Dynasty. Should be a good match because what I've seen so far from Megan Bayne since she's sort of re-debuted, I guess, or should I say returned to AEW, because she apparently was in AEW before during the COVID era, or at least back when they still were doing like AEW Dark and AEW Evolution. But it is what it is. Should be a good match. Timeless Toni Storm is great. So what I'll give AEW Dynamite this week is a 6 out of 10. Majority of the matches were good, it's just that the order was completely off. And now we get to SmackDown. SmackDown tonight, last night or yesterday was in Bologna, Italy. Every time I hear that, every time I hear the word Bologna, I just want to think of bologna. So great. We're in Bologna, Italy. Randy Orton opened the show, and I wasn't watching the show, obviously. It came on at 3. I was watching a fellow YouTuber live stream it, and I will tell you from what I was hearing, that crowd in Italy, Bologna, Italy, was loud. Even louder than Barcelona, apparently. Like, they were so loud. They were singing Randy Orton's theme song. And it was really loud. Like, dude, the international crowds are a big boost to WWE shows. I mean, Randy Orton talked about Kevin Owens, this and that. Kevin Owens then interrupts and decides, you know what, Randy? I was wrong. I was wrong to pile drive you onto the mats. You didn't deserve it, but everybody else did, but you didn't deserve it, and I'm willing to forgive you. If you're willing to forgive me for pile driving you, I'm willing to forgive you for siding with Cody over me. And he even introduced the idea of them going after the tag team titles together. Obviously, at WrestleMania, Randy was like, pass. And so he decided to make it official for WrestleMania. Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens, and he said that WrestleMania, I will kick your head in. So obviously what that means is he is guaranteeing a punt kick. Great. After this, we get a recap of last week's Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest brawl versus post Shinsuke Nakamura match. So it is what it is. A lot of people are just not happy about this feud. It's okay. To me, it's okay because there's a lot of history between them that dates even back to late 2023 when Drew McIntyre decided to team up with the Judgment Day, which at that point included Damian Priest inside War Games. Their team lost. So obviously Drew McIntyre would have been hella pissed at Damian Priest. They already didn't even really trust each other at all. And they already didn't seem to like each other. They even had a match or two that year, later in that year before 2024 got here. And then obviously the things that happened in 2024, Damian Priest cashed in on Drew McIntyre after winning the world title from Seth. Obviously, Damian Priest retained his title at Clash at the Castle that last year due to interference from Punk. Obviously, obviously Drew's not happy about that. Also, the Royal Rumble this year, Damian Priest eliminated Drew McIntyre. Wasn't happy about that. Damian Priest then decides, oh, I'm just going to eliminate Drew McIntyre from the Elimination Chamber match. Great. Great. So this is going to be great. This should be a good match. It should be a good feud. It's just some people's expectations for Drew McIntyre this year are just, I mean, yes, he had one of the best feuds probably in all of WWE history last year with CM Punk. That doesn't mean that every single year Drew McIntyre just has to top himself with his next feud being even better than the previous one. That's just not going to happen. So people need to, I think, lower their expectations for Drew. He's going to be, I mean, people just automatically assume that he was going to be inserted right back into the world title picture. But that's not, he doesn't need to do that. He doesn't need to be in the world title picture every single, they know that they don't have to book him like Charlotte Flair, where she's just always in the world title picture. They know Drew McIntyre is going to do whatever it is he can to make any feud he's in worth something. He's going to make it feel important. And that's what he's doing with this feud. Then we go to and have a tag team match, which is Drew McIntyre and Shinsuke Nakamura, odd pairing, versus Damian Priest and Jimmy Uso. Lasted about 10 minutes, and this match led to Damian Priest and Jimmy Uso winning, but then Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest decided to brawl yet again. It is what it is. Great. After this, though, we go to commercial break. Come back. Braun Strowman is backstage with LA Knight. He wants a U.S. title shot. He wants LA Knight to give him a U.S. title shot. He has a match against Jacob Fatu. So he decided that he was gonna. I guess he decided to talk to Nick Aldis and make the match between Jacob Fatu and Braun Strowman a shot at the number one contenders match for the United States title. And so we get this match, and it's about 12 minutes. And it's a really good match, exactly what you would expect from two of the heaviest hitters in WWE right now, minus maybe Bronson Reed and a few others like Braun Breaker and Gunther. But it is what it is. Really good match. Interference from the Bloodline cost Jacob the match, and it's a DQ win for Braun. So Braun will get a match with LA Knight next week for the Intercontinental Championship, for the U.S. Championship. Great. LA Knight is winning this match. Then we get Jade Cargill. She's talking about Naomi being interviewed before her match with Liv Morgan. She's talking about Liv and Naomi at the same time, talking about wanting to end both of them. But as of tonight, she is focused on Liv Morgan. After this, we go backstage, and Jacob Fatu is not happy. We continue backstage. Jacob Fatu is not happy. He told Solo, what the hell was that? You got involved in my match. You got involved in my business. Solo was trying to be like, well, we saw what was about to happen. You were about to lose. Well, Jacob's like, so I would have found a way to win on my own. Obviously, they're leading towards a Jacob Fatu Solo Sikoa singles match at WrestleMania, which might be good, but it also might expose Solo Sikoa, because I feel like Jacob Fatu has sort of been better than Solo in every way since debuting. That's just my opinion. Some of you guys may have your own opinion of that, but it is what it is. We got a vignette. Another vignette potentially teasing a superstar's return or debut. Number 4, the number 4 keeps popping up. People are saying that this is Aleister Black. If it is, great. I will welcome him back because I feel like his run on the main roster the first time around was just not good. Vince McMahon did not know how to book this guy for real. So I'm like, okay, if Triple H can book this guy better than Vince did, I'll be impressed. And even better than Tony Khan, for that matter. Then we get Jade Cargill versus Liv Morgan. This match was about 14 minutes. It was a good match. I'm going to say this. This was probably Jade's best match. One of her best matches since coming into WWE. It was about 14 minutes. When Naomi just came out there to distract Jade, which allowed Liv to get the win. 1, 2, 3. It is what it is. Afterwards, she just laid out Jade completely. It was beat down, just this vicious beat down. And that's how that ended. We also got Piper Niven versus Zelina Vega. Zelina Vega is gunning for the Women's United States Championship. This match was decent enough, about 13 minutes or so. Not bad. But obviously interference from Alba Fire and also from Chelsea Green. This just was too much for Zelina Vega, and she lost. It is what it is. Good match. Then we got yet another Rey Fenix. And yes, it has been now made official. It's now been made official that Rey Fenix has now signed with WWE. So this vignette for a luchador is for Rey Fenix. And it looks like he's going to be on the SmackDown brand, which is going to be interesting. Because I thought that when he debuted, they were going to have him debut alongside his brother Penta and have them reunite as the Lucha Brothers. But it looks like they're willing to give each brother a singles run before deciding to go for a run as a tag team, which could be interesting. Then we get Drew McIntyre. He's backstage. He cuts a promo on Damian Priest. He's just pissed off at Damian Priest, and he's making this feud interesting for me. And that's what Drew McIntyre has done now since a heel, is that he's made almost every program he's been in feel important because he makes it feel important. I think that's the problem with certain fans, that they don't care enough for this feud because they want better for Drew. They think that this isn't good enough for Drew. That he's too good for Damian Priest. Well, Drew McIntyre is going to make you care about this match. Because he's going to do everything he can to make sure this match feels important. We got Street Profits. They're out there. They are celebrating their win as tag team champions. They did win the tag team titles last week against DIY in a really good match. We then get, after a while, we got Legado del Fantasma of Santos Escobar and Los Garza in sort of interrupting proceedings. This leads to a tag team match between the two, which then also leads to the number one contenders at the moment, Pretty Deadly, coming out to sort of watch the match and sort of take notes. This match lasted about 15 minutes. Pretty decent match. Street Profits, they won. Is what it is. Nothing special, but it was a good tag team match. So congrats to the Street Profits. Then we get the main event, which was probably the most exciting thing on this card. Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and CM Punk. Roman came out first. He told Bologna to acknowledge him and all the usual tribal chief stuff that he's known for. Seth then came out. He said this and that about how there's no Roman without Seth and no Seth without Roman. He said this and that. It was really good. Then CM Punk came out. He thanked Paul Heyman for providing his tribal chief on a silver platter for Punk. Great. So, and as you would expect, this led to a brawl between the three guys, with each of them pointing at some point or another to the WrestleMania sign, basically confirming that this match will happen. Triple threat match. Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and CM Punk one-on-one, and it has now been made official. Whether this main event's night one is irrelevant is up for debate, because there has been a potential triple threat match being rumored that has also been speculated to be main eventing, and that is the women's match between Rhea, Io, and Bianca. If that match main events night one, I will be completely fine with that, because it's a big match that deserves the main event. But hey, it is what it is. SmackDown wasn't actually good, but some of the matches were really good. The Jade versus Liv match was actually decent, because it was actually one of Jade's best matches since debuting. Street Profits versus Legado versus basically Los Garza was a good match. Didn't mean much, but at least it was a good match. And then the opening and the main event were the best parts. So I'll give it a 6.5 out of 10 for SmackDown. At least. But that's it, guys. I appreciate it. I appreciate the likes. I appreciate you guys coming over just to watch little me talk about wrestling. Thank you guys, and I will see you guys next week. Again, right after this live stream, I will do my second movie review video for the month of March, and I will be uploading it tomorrow as a premiere, and it will premiere at 5 p.m. 5 p.m., so don't miss out. I will see you guys later, and until next time, peace. Bye, guys.